Hey Lit Set, it's Jazmine.
Hey Lit Set, it's Nikea, and this is Black Girl Lit,
the podcast. We're a podcast now, guys.
Where black girls are lit,
we get lit,
and we read lit.
This is Black Girl Lit, the podcast. Mug of the day. First, before we get into the thick of things with this quick lit, I just want to say that my vice president is black, my Lambo is blue, and I'll be goddamn if my Rams ain't silky. Congratulations to Joe and Kamala. See, Nikea, I can do it. To Joe and Kamala for their win over the weekend. I know that the Cheeto-in-Chief is going to do whatever he can to delegitimize this election and, you know, the people speaking on who they want to be the new leaders of this country. But I am super excited and happy for them. You know, I gave a PSA last quick lit about folks going out to vote, and I just like to think that my PSA helped inspire. My PSA ain't do shit, but you know, I am very happy and excited about this election, so it's lit. But yeah, that's just, you know, how I want to open this. Here we are, it's Jazmine again, here with another quick lit episode. This week we are going to be talking about The Wife Stalker by Liv Constantine, and you guys would be really happy to know that not only is this a more recent, you know, read for me, I read this book like 3 days ago, so you know, look at that. This quick lit is not being pulled from the backs of my memory from January. It's fresh on the dome, so it should be a good episode. But we're gonna see. We will be discussing The Wife Stalker by Liv Constantine. This was I think it would be considered like a thriller kind of mystery suspense novel. I read it in a couple days. It was interesting. So let's go ahead. Without any further ado, let's get into this quick lit, and we'll start with about the author. So, cool fact, Liv Constantine is actually two people. It is actually the pen name for sisters Lynn and Valerie Constantine. And together they have written 4 novels, which include The Last Mrs. Parrish, The Last Time I Saw You, The Wife Stalker, and The Stranger in the Mirror, which is slated to come out in July 2021. Of their 4 novels, or 3 novels so far that have been released, have been translated into 27 languages and are available in 32 countries. And they are currently in development to have, I'm not sure which of the novels, but some of them turned into, you know, television or film, which is great for them. And so just to give you a little bit more detail about them individually. So you have Lynn Constantine, who is a former marketing executive with a master's degree in business from Johns Hopkins University. She has explored coral reefs all over the world, sunken wrecks in the South Pacific, and fallen in love with angelfish in the Caribbean. When Lynn's not writing, you can find her curled up with her Labrador, and golden retrievers reading a good book or walking the beach thinking of devious plans for her characters. And then you have her sister Valerie. Valerie has always loved books and spent many nights reading by the light of her bedside lamp until 3 a.m. She lives with her husband and their brilliant cavalier, King Charles Zobra. Early in her career, she served as a White House assistant in the president's scheduling and advance office, planning presidential trips, and traveled and has visited over 40 foreign countries. She has a degree in business literature, and when she's not writing, you won't be able to find her, as she and her husband will be traveling to some faraway destination. That's cute. I like that. You know, it's kind of a flip from her sisters, where her sister's like, well, you can't find when she's not writing, you can find her. And Valerie like, don't even look for me because I'm out here living my best life. I think that's cool. I also think it's really cool that they're sisters who write together under this one pen name. Later in our Black Girl Lit selections, we have another book that's written by some sisters. And I think it's super cool when 2 authors come together to kind of produce a project together. Kind of gives me like college project vibes, where you hope your partner holds up their end of the bargain. But based on what I've seen so far, Lynn, Valerie, I don't know which one wrote which part of the book, but you know, kudos to you guys for doing it. I think it's dope as hell. So now we'll go ahead and get into my favorite part of our episodes, and that is the synopsis, where I will synopsisize The Wife Stalker by Liv Constantine, aka Lynn and Valerie, aka them sisters that be writing. book is actually told from two perspectives. It's told from Piper's perspective, which hers is actually written in third person, and then you have Joanna's, and hers is written in first person. The story kind of starts with Piper having just moved to the East Coast. I want to say it's like Massachusetts, Maine, New York, that area. Can't remember exactly where, but over, you know, that part of the world, Connecticut maybe, I don't know. But she just moved from the West Coast to this area. She is in health and fitness and wellness, and she meets a man named Leo Dracos, who she thinks is the bee's knees, except for the fact that, you know, Leo may or may not have a ring on his finger. I don't know. And so she's trying to, you know, grapple and deal with that. Conversely, you have Joanna, who is very much in love with Leo, has been there for him, and he's just kind of covering from, you know, a bout of depression. And she actually kind of suggests that he, you know, take some courses within Piper's Health and Wellness Center to hopefully help bring him out of it. You know, there's 2 kids involved in this, and she just, you know, Joanna wants to just do whatever she can to be the best for Leo as well as the children. And unfortunately for Joanna, she sees, you know, that Leo's newfound happiness, it may not be because of her, and it may be because of someone else. And it's kind of, you know, grappling with that, like, Joanna, you may lose everything. That's a very high level view of this book. I'm trying to tantalize you about it without giving you any spoilers, because I can't spoil this book. As much as I want to, and usually I don't mind spoilers, my personal self. Like, I'm the type of person that, like, if I'm watching a television show that's already been on TV, I'm likely to look up what happens in an episode, even though it could be a brand new show to me, but I will look it up the episode and see what happened and then just, like, spoil it for myself. I don't mind spoilers, but for this book, I am not going to spoil it, because you need to, like, you have to read it yourself to fully understand what's going on, and I just can't spoil it for you people. I just can't. I would be doing you a complete disservice by spoiling it. So that is the high level view of The Wife Stalker. Now we can get into my initial reactions. Okay, so for my reactions. So some of my reactions are literally just like my thoughts as I'm reading, and then I have some that are kind of like encompassing the whole novel. So my first initial thought as I was reading this book is that Piper is worse than Jolene. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Jolene, but Jolene, I'm begging you, please don't take my man. That's some Dolly Parton Jolene. I don't know how many people are familiar with Dolly Parton's song Jolene, but it's basically Dolly Parton singing to this bitch like, hey, go, stay away from my man. And I felt as I was reading this novel that Piper was worse than Jolene. And I was like, ooh, girl. And the only reason why I think I wrote that note and tied it to Jolene is because I was listening to the song as I was reading, but I digress. My next thought was that I was concerned for Joanna. Like, sis, she needs to get it together. Like, Joanna, girl, you was just like, I want to say something, but it's going to spoil it. So I'm going to just say Joanna, sis, like, girl. Whew. I also had that Leo is incredibly stupid and dumb. Some of his decisions, honestly, everyone's decisions was pissing me off. Everyone was giving me incredibly dumb and stupid vibes. Shout out to Gatsby. Everyone was just really pissing me off, which is my next thought, is just everyone was pissing me off. The only people not pissing me off in this book were the children. And that's because they're children. But everybody else, all adults in this story, pissing me off. And then my next thought was the delusion is so real and strong with everybody in this book. The levels of delusion vary per character, but there is some delusion within each character. It was to the point when I was reading this book, and I don't want to say that I was going to rage quit, but it was just like, I was just over it. I was just, excuse Gatsby, I was just over it. I was just over the delusion. I was over everyone's dumbass decisions. I was just over it all. It was pissing me off. It was really, really pissing me off. But then, baby, you get to them last 75 to 100 pages, it was all worth it. all of the frustration and anger and angst and disgust that you were feeling in the beginning of the book, it's wiped away because it all begins to make sense. It all comes together. Because I promise you, I literally was hating everybody until I got to that end, and then I was like, oh, now I see what's going on here. So next we'll get into the major scenes and topics. So first major scene that I have is Piper meeting Leo. Then I have Joanna's kind of like confrontation. Then also Joanna's kind of brush with law enforcement. There are some other major scenes, but like I said, I don't want to give away too many, but I think, and also the major reveal. Obviously the reveal at the end is like the biggest scene, but I can't tell you what the reveal is, and I can't give you too many details about it, but yeah. So those are the major scenes that I feel comfortable divulging at this moment. In terms of topics, I would say mental health is a major topic. Throughout the novel, Joanna is going to a therapist to kind of help her. There are some talks about Leo dealing with his own depression and kind of coming out of that. And especially with Piper running this, wellness center, as well as grief. Part of the reason that Piper relocates to the East Coast is she is dealing with the loss of her husband and the grief attached to that, as well as how his death affected other people and, his life, and their grief as well. And then I think the major topic of this book is perception. As the reader, you come into this perceiving all of these characters in one manner, and then the reveal happens and you're looking at them in a completely different light. Every single one of them, you look at them and then you kind of go back and start to replay all of the different scenes and conversations and dialogue, and you start questioning your own perception and how you perceive things. And is perception really reality? Because what? That's all I can say. So those are, the major topics and scenes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I really want to get into this, and I'm actually going to suggest that Ikea reads this book so I can have somebody to talk to about and actually go into the different scenes and ask them how they feel about it, because it was to the point when I was reading this book, and I'm not normally the person when I'm reading that I may talk to myself out loud, or I'll talk to Ikea if she's reading the same book, but I very rarely engage my fiance David in books that I'm reading, or give him details or whatever, because I just honestly, I don't think he really cares a lot. And as someone who is getting and I just envision, him being I'm not reading this book. I have no clue what you're talking about. And of course, you can't give all the context because they haven't read the book. But anyway, I was telling him about what was going on with the book every 5 minutes. Oh my God, such and such has happened. Oh my God, such and such has happened. Because it was frustrating me that much that I just had to tell somebody so that they can experience the frustration with me. So that's how I feel this book, it frustrates you. It frustrates you. So if you do decide to read it, just prepare yourself for that. You will be frustrated in the beginning. You will probably hate everybody, but in the end, it comes full circle. It comes full fucking circle, and you well, damn, I see what you did there. I see it. I peep game. And then you replay all the different things in the back of your mind. All of these things make sense now. So with that said, we will get into the best portion of any kind of Black Girl Lit episode, and that is where we rate the book. So come along and get ready for this rating. If you are new to Black Girl Lit, you may not be aware, but if you are part of the Lit set, you are well aware of our rating scale and our rating system. It is as such for the newbies. We start off with sober, and that basically is the book is trash. The book was not good. The book did absolutely nothing for you. Then you have buzz, and it's okay, it's not the worst book I've read. It's definitely not the best book, but I guess I don't completely hate that I wasted my time reading this book. Then you have tipsy, and you're okay, all right, this book was pretty good, pretty good. I enjoyed it. I liked it. And then you have Faded. And Faded is one of our newer ads. It used to just be a 4-point system, but we felt like just for symmetry and because Goodreads has 5 stars, we need to have a 5th rating. So we added Faded, and Faded is like, okay, this book was really, really good. There may be 1 or 2 things about the book that I just didn't like or just didn't sit right with my spirit. But it's a really, really good book. And then the 5-star rating is lit, is when that book is lit and that book is like, this is literally the best book I've ever read. I'm going to buy, purchase, check out every copy I possibly can, give it to everyone I know so everyone can share in the awesomeness that is this book. So that is our rating scale. So based on that, I will have to give The Wife Stalker a Faded. This book was really good, but it did not get really good until the reveal, and that is why it's not a lit book. The levels of frustration and anger and just the way that this book made me feel, it is why I can't give it a lit. But the fact that this book also conversely had me up until about 1 o'clock in the morning trying to finish it once I got to the reveal, it was like, oh, this book is it's really good once you get there. Once everything comes together, it is a really good book. I'm not one to like typically read like suspense or thriller books, but this one, this psychological thriller was amazing. I loved it. So Liv, aka Lynn, and Valerie, you guys are Black Girl Lit approved. The Wife Stalker is definitely a Faded book. I enjoyed it. Please read it if you were interested. If you like kind of like psychological thriller, suspense kind of novels, please read this book. Report back to me and let me know your thoughts so that we can share in it together. I hope, Nakia, I'm gonna tell you, girl, please read this book. I think it's on audio. Listen to it so we can talk about it. Cause girl, I need someone to talk to me about this book or talk with me about this book. So please read it. Somebody read it and so we can chit chat about it. With that being said, that is my quick review on The Wife Stalker. If you are currently trying to read along with Black Girl Lit for our normal Black Girl Lit episodes, right now we are currently reading The Business of Lovers by Eric Jerome Dickey. We are super excited about this book. Both of us have been reading Eric Jerome Dickey for quite some time, since we were both like teenagers. I remember Eric Jerome Dickey being one of the first authors that I read, like behind like Carl Weber, Elin Harris. Like I remember like reading Eric Jerome Dickey books. So it's really exciting to get back to this classic Black author. And I think he's actually the only male author that we're reading this season. So we have that. So we, reading a book by a guy. Then after we read The Business of Lovers, we're going to be reading A Deadly Inside Scoop by Abby Collette. Which is I think it's a murder mystery. It's actually my pick. The Business of Lovers is Nikia's pick. It's a murder mystery. So hopefully this one works out better than the last murder mystery that Black Girl Lit tried to read, because yeah. That being said, I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Please read along with us. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to our Black Girl Lit YouTube channel. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. You can follow us on Instagram at Black Girl Lit _. You can email us at blackgirllityt@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Lenny Nora. You can follow Nakia at Nakia Jalin. Just engage with us, reach out, let us know. Send us any comments, thoughts. We call those sips over here. So send us any sips that you may have. But that being said, have a great day and make sure you stay Black Girl Lit.
That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star rating and a top-notch review to get us to the top review page on iTunes. And be sure to follow us and listen on SoundCloud.